Hare Krishna. Then with pranams, I welcome all the devotees who have joined here on Zoom and those who are on YouTube Live. Let's start Mangalacharan, then we shall resume to our weekly classes. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामिनिति नामने नमाचार्यपदाय नित्यकृपापदायिनी गौरकथा दम्बदया नगरग्रामधारिणि नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैते गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. And we had a bit of gap in the past due to my traveling, so I really missed all of your association. I hope you forgive me for a bit of discontinuation we have. But let's resume back where we left. We were doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita on these sessions Fridays, especially for Middle East, but because it's a bit early, 7 o'clock back in London. But if anybody is joining from there, Hare Krishna, then we pronounce to you as well. And we will have our usual Saturday morning sessions on Shri Ishopanishad, continuing from tomorrow. So today, Bhagavad Gita. And let me start sharing. And because we were away for a few weeks, let's have a quick catch up. And with that, hopefully everybody would know where we left. So, or what we have covered so far. So, Bhagavad Gita, as it is by Srila Prabhupada ji. Very first thing, we did the setting of the scene. If you have Bhagavad Gita as it is with you, you would see the very first thing is setting the scene. And this is based on the teachings from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ji, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And according to Srila Prabhupada ji, it's not just his personal teachings. He has always said that this is a part of Guru Shishya Parampara. So the disciples' succession, which we had. And so he has given the gist of the whole parampara in his commentaries. And anyone who knows about it, he has done an immense work and great service for the humanity. So a lot and a lot of scriptures, Vedic scriptures, which were available in different languages, especially in Sanskrit. He made them available primarily in English, but later on multiple language. You bet any international language you think of, you would find Srila Prabhupada ji's Bhagavad Gita as it is in that particular language. Of course, we have Srimad Bhagavatam and many other, but Srimad Bhagavad Gita remains the main Shastra, which is widely accepted and preached. So one must study Bhagavad Gita inside out, and that will help govern our external activity. So what is the purpose of these studies? If you think about, the whole idea is we read it, but it's not one of those fictional or non-fictional, where fictional we read it for our pleasure, non-fictional we just read for the knowledge. No, this is, of course, the knowledge, the jnana will increase, but it is the absolute truth which remained and will always remain. So we always say that there was a time we were not there, will be a time we won't be there, but there has always been and will always be the time when Srila Prabhupada's translations. And if you think about, the Bhagavad Gita has always been there in Sanskrit, but now obviously in our regional languages as well, never mind internationals. So when we read it, we get the jnana, which is a bit different than the material knowledge we think of. This is a spiritual knowledge, and this is spiritual knowledge will transform our day-to-day activities. That's the whole idea, that a devotee will exhibit Bhagavad Gita knowledge in his day-to-day transactions with anyone and everyone around him. So we should understand the philosophy, and not in isolation, but how it all fits together. And that's a lot of people will pick Bhagavad Gita, and sometimes without reading it through a proper systematic process, which we are doing it now, if somebody will just pick one verse from here and there, then it will not do the justice. Because we do need to here understand from the parampara and how one verse fits in the context of the whole chapter and where exactly that chapter is. So why? This is coming from many different paramparas. One of the Swamijis, one of the Guru Maharajas, God brother said it, that it's one of the main thing for him was that any other scripture you pick, there is someone who has said something, A Swami has said it, a Jnani has said it, a Bhakta has said it, a devotee has said it, somebody has said about it. Of course, critics could say, journalists could say, but someone has said it. But Bhagavad Gita, when we reach to Bhagavad Gita, who has said it? Who is speaking, right? It's the Lord Himself. And when he said, when I thought about that, then it really struck me very hard that who has said, who has spoken these words? It's not these words from the Lord. It is the Lord Himself speaking it. It's not like, oh, I'm telling you what the Lord said, because I can change few things here and there, or even though I don't intentionally want to change it, but I'm only going to share what my understanding is. But here Krishna is saying it. And of course, Krishna said it in Sanskrit, and then we need someone who could translate that. And there could be a bit of ambiguity in translations. Hence, acharyas like Srila Prabhupada is so important, because they provide what we call the purports, the detailed explanation, and how we can implement those word of wisdoms given by Krishna in our own personal life. So a lot of different acharyas have mentioned it. We have seen Shankaracharyaji as well. And we have seen this setting the scene. So today we are doing the recap. If you like, on the same channel, you will find the previous presentations, previous sessions on Bhagavad Gita, setting the scenes. We have done in detail, discussing each single box in this slide, and the one follows it. So we have seen the history of Mahabharata, how it went, and who was it. So before we get into that, Arjuna Vacha, and then Bhagwan Vacha, Arjuna and the Lord who were there. If you see, the Lord giving it to Arjun, because I said that you are my friend and you are my devotee. So if we would like to hear Bhagavad Gita, then that's what we need. We need to make Krishna our friend, but at the same time, we need to become Krishna's devotee. We need to surrender ourselves. If we don't understand, we have a lot of senior Vaishnavas around us who could help us, but just don't try to speculate things. Oh, well, if this says that, maybe if you have your own thinking, always counter check, right? Like any other student in the class, you would always check with your teachers, that is my understanding correct? Could you please confirm? Because we are not doing it for to clear an exam. We are doing it to implement in our life. And why do we want to do that? Because we will get what we are looking for. So why we should implement the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in our life? Because we will get what we are looking for. What are we looking for? And there is no dispute in that. One way or another, directly or indirectly, irrespective of where we come from, which language we speak, there's only one thing we are looking for, which is happiness. And then people look for happiness in the money and then the things money can buy. But at the end of the day, it's just happiness. We try to go on different holidays. We try to taste different dishes. We try to own different clothings. We do a lot of partying. Why? There's only one item, happiness. If any of those things we will try, irrespective of who is associated, it could be a king of the country, it could be the prime minister, president, it could be a royal member, doesn't really matter. If we don't get happiness, then everything else is futile. So what we are looking for is a happiness. Now, all those things are external. Once we learn Bhagavad Gita wisdom and it's there in our heart, irrespective of our circumstances, we will always be peaceful. So rather than material happiness, we will get spiritual bliss. And that spiritual bliss will be and always is much, much, much bigger than the material happiness, which is transitional. It will come and it will go. Shanabhangur, momentary. So we have seen the history of the Kuru family. We have discussed a lot of stories. Again, if you would like to get into detail, if you're watching this video but you haven't seen the others, they have been there. And being the live sessions, so like always, like this one, we have always discussed. So there are always guys uh, discussing things, and that's what we like to do. Today's session might not be because we are just doing the backup, but of course you are free to ask any questions either here in Zoom or on YouTube live, so feel free to ask for it. And always happy to discuss because we don't have any agenda to fulfill that we need to finish it by then. The whole idea is that whoever listens, hears this Bhagavad Gita wisdom should able to get transformational changes in his or her life. And it will. And we just need to open our heart and mind to Krishna. That's it. That's what we need. Just one thing, the desire that please Krishna, please come on. And the Kartik month completed, and then we are now the end of the year, if you say Georgian calendar, but we are doing the book marathon now. So a lot of auspiciousness around. We have seen all these histories, what will happen. If you haven't, if you don't know about Mahabharata, then by all means, go through the previous sessions and you will find out, or a lot of stories we discussed in a lot of sessions. Right, okay. Before we move further, mistakes of other Bhagavad Gita commentaries. So there are, somebody said, like 400 to 500 different translations out there in the industry, right? So if you go and you will say, oh, I need a Bhagavad Gita, somebody might ask, which one? Because see, Bhagavad Gita is the same. Krishna has spoken the same Sanskrit verses, but who has given the commentary? Who has explained it? So different people will try to explain different things. And being philosophy, it's open for personal interest. So if my personal interest in Karma Yoga, I will try to emphasize Karma Yoga is the best. But if I come from a Gyan Yoga perspective, then I can take Bhagavad Gita as for Gyanis. But Srila Prabhupada ji put the holistic view, then it looks like a true book and Shastras for Bhaktas. And we will see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself said it that who is dear to me more than the Gyani, more than the sannyasi, more than the karmi, more than the ashtang yogi, somebody who's a bhakta to me, mad bhakta, my bhakta, my devotee. And that's what we need to become. So all of the translations, wherever the translations is not pointing to the devotion side, we need to understand something is wrong. But of course, we could become a devotee by karma yoga, we could become a devotee by gyan yoga, we could become a devotee by ashtang yoga. The whole idea is not to get stuck in between, keep working until we reach to the final destination of bhakti. And that bhakti is which is going to get us out of this vicious circle of birth and death. And then Bhagavad Gita's message is as simple as Prabhupada ji has put together, that we just need to become the devotee of Krishna. How we can do it, all the what we should eat, what we should read, what kind of friends we should associate with, what kind of consciousness we should have when we are working in the office, right? Or we are doing a business, when we interact with someone. That consciousness should become Krishna consciousness. Hence, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. The whole idea is to change our consciousness, and consciousness is that thinking, how we see those glasses. If you are wearing green glasses, we will see green. If you will see wear red glasses, we will see red. So if we have Krishna conscious glasses, Krishna conscious attitude, Krishna conscious outlook, we will see Krishna and Krishna's message all over the place. Imagine how peaceful that could be. We will not see the difference between male and female, but of course, for a transactional basis, for material usage, we will. It's not that we are going to become mad, that we will forget all about it. We will know, even the devotees becomes even more effective in whatever they do. And of course, the reason is because we don't have the mm, distortions around, the deviations around, the distractions around, all these things. We don't focus where people usually get materialists. They will spend and burn so much energy. However, devotee will work hard for the spiritual gain, for the spiritual progress. And that's what we are going to do. So this is just a setting scene. As I said, we have done a detail on it. So watch out if you want to on the previous sessions on the same channel. We do have, and this is on the courtesy of ISKCON Mathura Desh, which is Muscat in Oman. And one of the devotees, my god brother, has shared this with me kindly. So I will mention this as well. Gita Mahatmya, the glories of Bhagavad Gita, right? Before we start anything, before we do anything, if we know the importance, if we know the significance of it, the efforts we put in will be great. So like one of the Prabhuji said that always remember who is speaking these words. These words are coming from the Lord himself. There are not a lot of scriptures in the world which coming directly from the Lord. Here you will hear Bhagavan Uvacha. So the Lord himself is saying it. And again, the details are there, which we have covered in the past, but Gita Mahatmya is coming from Padma Purana. So it's not that the Gita itself has mentioned its own glories. So if I'm going to say good about me, of course I can say a lot of things. But if somebody else will say, which means I have really manifested those things, hence others have also realized. Similar thing, Padma Purana has mentioned why we should read Bhagavad Gita, what are the glories, and Gita Shastram Idam Punya. They are so you could hear those on YouTube as well if you put Gita Mahatmya in shlokas. But just to mention that we have covered them, and they are there on YouTube if you like to go in detail. Otherwise, the presentation is available for anyone who would like to get it. Please feel free to email me on vpgovinda@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to share the presentation with you. As I said, it's courtesy of other devotees, and devotees are always eager to share and spread the word of wisdom from the Lord. So that's it. That's what is Bhagavad Gita. It's the essence, and this is a user manual for the mankind, how we should live in this world with this body. What should we do? We got the washing machine, we get the cow. We need to know who will give, manufacturer, who gave this body, Krishna. So who is better than Krishna himself giving the user manual? And that's what Bhagavad Gita is. As I said, what kind of karma we should do. And then Smriti and Shruti, we have seen that as well. Shruti, directly hearing from Krishna. Smriti is when somebody has heard it and then telling us. So if I'm teaching my son, then that's Shruti, because my son is listening from me. But if my son will listen from me and tell his sister, then for my son it was Smriti, Shruti, but for my daughter it's Smriti, because my son is going to remember, Smriti, remembrance, remember, and then going to tell somebody else. So a lot of Vedic culture is split into these two, and Bhagavad Gita will purpose. It's in essence, as I said, we are seeking the happiness. We become devotee, and all the sufferings will go away, and we will be happy. It doesn't really matter which background we come from. Doesn't really matter how much we have done since. If we start reading Bhagavad Gita today itself, you'll see a gradual difference in our life. So 5 topics in Bhagavad Gita: Ishwar, the Lord Himself. Kala, the time, and Krishna says, I am time. Jiva, what we are, and of course, what's the relationship between us and the Ishwar. Then we have the karma, so the activities we should do, karma, and then we have the prakriti. Prakriti is the material world we live in. So think about it, everything is there. The time we are born at one time, we will die at one time. So we need to make good use of time because it's limited. And it's us, and we are here in this world. This is Prakriti, and in this world, we are going to do some karma, and at the end, the destination is Ishwar. So, if we think about that way, these five topics are covered. We have this body for limited time, the body, us, second, Jiva, third, we are here in this material world, Prakriti, and in this material world, with this body, given that time, you're going to do some work, that's activity, and the purpose of those actions, activities while living in this body in this material world during that time is to reach to Krishna, to reach Ishwar. These five topics, if you remember that way, it will be easy that nothing else is more important than understanding these things. And how to study Bhagavad Gita, the spirit of devotion, like what Krishna said to Arjun, that when Arjun said in chapter 2.7, Karpanye dosho pahata sabhava pachami dharma samu. Arjun just bows down to Krishna and says, well, now, if you see this picture, now, please tell me I'm bewildered. Krishna says, I'm going to teach you. Because you are my friend and because you are my devotee, because you have surrendered to me. And that's the whole idea. We need to surrender. So when we read it, we don't want to pick faults in it, right? However, don't take anything for granted. Ask questions, right? But ask questions from the right people. Ask questions from the community. If a medical student is there and the medical student will just start picking faults, that won't help. But yes, if something medical student doesn't understand, but ask his or her seniors, ask his or her teachers who are in the university he's doing medical degree from. That's how we need to study. And always remember what the intention is. Intention is for our spiritual upliftment. If you remember that, that's going to help. Well, I mean, it's surprising the medical example I've given, and that is there. So this is Vedic principle that a shishya always surrender to spiritual guru, and the guru will engage the disciple in the service of the Lord by teaching the true nature of the life where we are at the moment. So always, always remember that. And that's going to help us a lot. So we have already seen a lot of things regarding Bhagavad Gita. Now, how about if we start from the introduction? So, and this is another great devotee in Seattle, His Grace Amrit Anand Das Prabhuji. His picture is not in here, but he's widely known in YouTube. You can try, and of course, you could email directly him if you want. And he has done a great service by putting together such a nice presentation. So when I use presentations, I make some of my own, but a lot of times I borrow from other devotees. And similarly, I'm happy to share all the presentations I have gathered during the past years, and I'm happy to share the ones I put together my own. So feel free to be in touch. And as I said, the devotees are always happy to share as long as the purpose is to spread the name and the wisdom of the Lord. So this is the Mangala Charan, which we always do in the session as well. Today we recorded the class. We did do it in the beginning. I'm not sure whether it was part of the recording or not. But if any session, if you attend from any of the devotees, we always do Mangalachar. And sometimes being online, we start recording after Mangalacharan, but most of the time it's part of Mangalacharan. But you would always notice they are there. Essence of our philosophy. Most of this also we have covered in the past. This is the overview of Bhagavad Gita. We actually started the introduction, and the great things we covered in introductions. But today we are going to have a short session anyways. So we are just doing the recap because we were away for last 3 weeks, and we will see how things go, because we usually start from where we have left. So we will see that what we have covered in the past, and can we just continue from there, which we usually do. But because we had a gap of 3 weeks, we are going to take a bit longer to recap like what we usually do. So we have covered all these things. And regarding the Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, one of those acharyas, and there is a Guru Parampara for him. And he described Gita as the river of nectar. Nectar, what else we need apart from nectar in this world? And Krishna's words will act as nectar, and that's what we all are looking for. That's why devotees cherish. So somebody said to me that, don't you get tired of reading Bhagavad Gita? Well, not really. Do we get tired of uh, seeing somebody perform or watching? A lot of time people watch their movies again and again, right? And this is what devotees do. For us, Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Krishna is the supreme personality of God for everyone, but of course devotees are the ones who realize it, and they cherish the moments there about Krishna, and that's what we are trying to do here. So this is what we have already seen, right? Okay, this division, hopefully you will remember by now. If not, then very easy to understand how Bhagavad Gita is categorized. And minded, this is the categorization for our own understanding. Of course, when Krishna taught Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, then that was just a dialogue. Krishna didn't say that, okay, I'm going to end this chapter, I'm going to start the next chapter. It was just a conversation, but as it happens in conversation, we can always categorize the conversation. That during this conversation, we did these three things: first, there's second, third, and like that. So the whole Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 chapters, 700 verses, could be split into three different sections. First one, chapter 1 to 6, and the middle one, chapter 7 to 12, the last one, 13 to 18. First is six. The very first one is Karma Yoga, but leading to Bhakti Yoga. Second one directly about Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga, and the third one Jnana Yoga, but again leading to Bhakti Yoga. So if you see, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is actually Bhakti Yoga. But if you see a sandwich, we call it cheese sandwich, but on the top we have a bread, on the bottom we have a bread, and there is a middle, there is a cheese. So cheese sandwich, there are two breads and one cheese, but still it's called cheese sandwich. And if that one cheese will change into something else, then we will call it that, like chicken sandwich or some other sandwich. So what's there right in the middle is more important than the front and back in the coverings. So similar thing here, Karma Yoga at the top and Jnana Yoga at the bottom, and in between we have the main essence, which is the Bhakti Yoga. So if somebody will read just Karma Yoga, might not get the whole gist, because you would just think Karma Yoga is the main thing, like what people call a lot of times. And similar thing applies to the Jnana Yoga. People say that as well. But what we would like to do, we would like to see that's how we could do and look forward to implement this knowledge, and that's the reason we try to understand this. Now, there are different acharyas who have presented Bhagavad Gita, and so we are just going to summarize. So this is what Srila Prabhupada actually did. And he put together, he read all he understood it, and then he put all of them together. So for example, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan ji, he did Gita Bhushan Bhashya. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurji, who comes in the disciple successions, Sartha Vansni Tika. So Tika, Bhashya, they all are the purports given, like the commentaries. And then we have the Subodhini from Srila Sridhar Swamiji. Then Sripada Ramanujacharya ji, very famously, wrote his Gita Bhashya. And all of that Srila Prabhupada ji put together in one. And these are the verses spoken in Bhagavad Gita by different personalities. Of course, Krishna is the main, who gave the main essence, 574 verses out of 700. Arjun, who asked a lot of questions and confirmed what he understood, 84 verses. Sanjay, on behalf of Dhritarashtra mainly, but a lot of time his own understanding about, because he could watch what was happening. Apart from Arjun, only Sanjay was the one who could see and take darshan of the Virat Roop, which we'll see in 11th chapter. Dhritarashtra couldn't see that, but Sanjay did, and he tried his best to put what he could see in words for Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was just one verse. And interesting enough, the very first verse of Bhagavad Gita comes from Dhritarashtra, and we will see, and that verse itself is very important, but he initiates the process. So just in number, we have seen that chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga, is a star. And there are only 20 verses there. If we see, 20 is the smallest. And then we have chapter 15. Both chapter 12 and chapter 15 are very important. Chapter 12 and chapter 9 as well, actually, but that's a bit bigger. So star ones are the smallest and most important, 12 and 15. And then we have the 18, which is the summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita, the most 78. We do have the Gita summarized in 72nd, which is 72 verses in chapter 2. So these are the main. Of course, we will see and start from chapter 1, which is a lot of bit background, a lot of introductions, but real Bhagavad Gita will start from chapter 2. Adi Shankaracharya ji actually didn't even do chapter 1 in his commentary. He actually started his commentary straight from chapter 2, but we will see why. But Arjuna asked a lot of questions in the second half of chapter 1, which we will try to cover. Why? So that's chapter 1, observing the armies of battlefield. But this is what we will start next time. We have recapped. My apologies if you felt that I went very fast, but that was the whole purpose of today's session. It was a recap session. We will join back again next week at the same time, Fridays, and we will start from chapter 1. Any questions, any observations, anyone? Okay, I'm not surprised because this is all recap. So any questions, any observations, feel free to be in touch next time, and we will take it from there. I'll look forward to speak to you, all of you, next time. Until then, take good care of yourself. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, jai jai, Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, everyone. Take care of yourself. Hare Krishna.